So I just would like to request everyone to switch on their cameras if possible so that we can have a more interactive session. And also I'll play a soft bell 20 minutes before the session and then 10 minutes before as so that we can stick to this time boxing. At the end of the session, we'll have a small poll so that we can get everybody's feedback. And with this, I would like to hand it over to Dana. Dana, please can continue.
All right. So welcome everybody to our interactive session. I will not be having any slides whatsoever. So we're going to be using Mural. We will be playing, well, I shouldn't call it a game. We will be using one of the liberating structures that will help us discover what are some of the things that we can do to bring to break DevOps culture in our organizations. And then that's how we start. And then we'll discover what's the opposite of that and how we can actually enable introducing DevOps or any other new changes in the organization. So where I would like you to get started from is from the Mural board. So I pasted the link in the chat and Nikita is going to repaste it one more time so people who just joining us are able to get in. And what you'll notice is that Mural is going to assign you these weird names like visiting rhino, visiting, I think there is an owl. So again, no reflection on your character. This is just what Mural does automatically. So go ahead and let's get started from this very first board, which is asking you to mark your location. So I see a couple of people did that already. So go ahead and start there. And once you added the marker here, and in order to add the marker, what you'll do, you'll just go to these little icons with star, and that will give you all sorts of icons you can add. I can even place a few here if you want to grab them and just put the marker where you are joining us from. All right. All right, we have people from Africa, US, India. Very cool, very cool. So if you added your marker here, then the next place where I'd like you to go is to the second outline. It's called meeting place. And this is where I'd like you to add your name or your nickname if you want to be somebody else today. Just let us know how you would like to be called today, because in this session, you will be interacting with each other. And you'll see that you can zoom in and out in the Mural as well, so you can see the entire board. And once you add the name, what I'd like you to do is to grab your post-it and drag it all the way into the next section, which is asking you to just let us know a little bit about your background. Are you coming from the development side and your focus is on delivering new features in production, or you're coming from the operation side and your typical focus is on the stability, reliability, and keeping the lights on? And maybe you're coming from a completely someplace else, so it's a different area. So then it's you're neither dev no ops, but we still love you and thanks for coming. So just move your little post-it from this area into our third area, and let's see who is in the room. All right. So we have mostly people from development, nobody from operations. So what about everybody else who is on the call? So again, if you were hoping to hear a lecture, there will not be any lecture today. So it's all going to be you interacting with each other. Nikita, feel free to join the board as well, because that way we can get more people working together.
Right. I'm there on the board. So I would just like to check if anybody is having any issues joining the board or, with the link, because we can just see 3 or 4 of them there.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope everybody has got the link and is able to join the link.
Okay, so it looks like someone needs the link.
Okay, I'll just paste it. Give me a minute.
Okay.
Check this
It's
link.
the same link. So I'm pasting the short link and Nikita pasted the longer link. So it's
Yeah.
the same link. So don't worry about going one versus the other. They'll lead you to the same place.
Yes, that's right.
All right, so as more people joining us, so what I'm going to do, I am going to quickly introduce myself and talk about what this session is going to be like, and then we'll start our first exercise because what you did so far is just a warm up. So this session is about how to use a different approach to introducing DevOps changes, DevOps culture in organization. And the approach that we will be playing with today is called liberating structures trees. And this is one of the structure that allows you to put your evil hat on and think about how can I make things worse before making them better, and discovering some of the anti-patterns that might already be in place in your organizations that actually not going to make things better. So by doing this structure, you're able to uncover those anti-patterns and find the ways to address them and actually improve the likelihood of a change succeeding in the organization. My name is Dana Pylayeva. I'm an agile coach and trainer. I'm also the author of Introducing DevOps with Lego and Chocolate book, which tells you that if this session was in person, most likely we would have played Lego and Chocolate. But it's hard to play Lego and Chocolate online. So instead, we are going to be working with liberating structures, which is another way to engage everyone and get people to interact and really tap into the wisdom of people in the room. So let's get to it. And the first thing that we will be doing is another structure that's called impromptu networking. So this is where what we'll do, we'll put you in the breakout rooms and we'll switch them around a few times. So that way you'll be able to get to know some of the people who are on this call. And the way how it works, we will switch you 3 times, which means that you will get a chance to to meet with at least 3 people on this call. Then you are in the one-on-one conversation in the breakout. What I'm asking you to do is to think about and answer these questions. What big DevOps culture challenge do you bring to this conference? And what do you hope to get from and share with the group during this session? Okay, so these are the questions on the mural board. And if you're curious which outline that is on, this is outline 5 in the mural. Okay, so how it will feel like? It will feel like you didn't get enough time, because by design, this structure is going to only give you very short 3 minutes. So between you and your partner, it's going to be about 1.5 minutes per person. So don't go into lengthy, my name is, and I came from this area, and this is so many things I've done in my career, because you won't have time for that. Just very brief introduction and think about the specific questions that I'm asking you to think about. The big DevOps culture challenge, what do you hope to get from this group and what do you hope to share? Okay. And let's see, this is going to be a little bit tricky because I don't know who, who is actually in the room versus who has just the face and they're not there. So let's see what's possible here. I'll try 3, 4. So if you end up with someone in the room that the picture is there, but the person is not there and the person not responding, just come back to the main room and we'll chat there. Okay, but let's give it a try. Maybe there is a chance for you to meet someone on the call. All right, so 3 minutes and then I'll switch you right in the middle if you're having a conversation. So you won't be coming back unless the person who joined with you in the room is actually not the person that shares the image, right? So have fun. Nikita, would you mind joining room 2?
Yeah, sure, I'll do.
Yeah, thank you. Because by default, it just doesn't send you since you're co-host.
Right.
Thanks. Yeah, are the results that are giving us not only speed of delivery, but also stability. So addressing these two seemingly introducing DevOps culture. The things we're trying to get are the results that are giving us not only speed of delivery, but also stability. So addressing these two seemingly conflicting goals, right? And so the numbers that you're seeing is that with the introducing DevOps culture, those organizations that are considered elite performers, they are able to see these amazing results. So they're able to deploy more frequently, they're able to recover from the incidents faster if the incidents happen, and they're actually seeing much less than the rate of the change failure. And so both goals, the goals of development and goals of operations are able to be accomplished using DevOps practices, DevOps culture, and DevOps technology. And the conversation we just had with Surinder, it's very telling because in the many organizations, the focus goes towards introducing technical practices related to DevOps, but culture piece is very important as well. And I would argue even more important. So some of the typical patterns that are observed in organizations that are introducing DevOps, and specifically how they do it. So what you see here on this little chart is that, again, you see different type of performers, where elite performers are the ones that are able to deploy multiple times a day, and low performers are those organizations that are deploying maybe multiple times in a year, maybe once in a quarter. So the difference is drastic, right? From being able to put new changes in production and have them stable once a year or twice a year to doing it multiple times a day. And if you think about organizations like Amazon that's deploying 130,000 times per day, then again, the difference is amazing. So what differentiates the two? And what are the different approaches that they're taking? So this is the summary. And just tell me, what do you see here? What's the big differentiator between the ones that are elite performers and the ones that are low performers? What stands out for you?
Communities of practice and grassroots, right?
Yeah. So a lot of elite performers are the ones, so the practices that are working for elite performers are focused on that spreading the knowledge, right? And really igniting that passion from the grassroots versus the low performers are more focused on doing big bang type of approach, creating centers of excellence or training centers, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't ignite as much passion as tapping into grassroots and building the community of practices. So again, just kind of very high level, but very telling the picture of how the approaches are different to DevOps transformation between the different types of organization. So what I invite you to do in the next part of this is we're going to go into this area, and actually let me close this one for now. And so because we're such a small group, I'm just going to ask everyone to play in one board because we can. And we will have discussion right here in the in this group. So the first step of this exercise is you're going to think about the different practices that can actually make introducing DevOps in your organization fail. So instead of thinking about what can help, just like what we looked at the previous slide, there were some things that would definitely help with DevOps transformation. Let's think about what can we do to make it worse. So that's where you put on your evil hat and you start thinking, what can I do? How can I introduce the practices, or how can I leverage existing practices that will actually prevent organization from embracing DevOps? What can we do? So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to put this in the private mode, which means that whatever you're going to be entering for the next 2 minutes in these cards, no one is going to see it. So you can type and change whatever you need to do. So it's not a problem at all. So I am right now in the outline 8. So if you're looking at my screen that I'm sharing, this is the outline, and outline 8 is the one that will bring you into this area. And so ignore the group 1, group 2, because we're right now all the same group. So you can use any post-its on this board and just go ahead and start creating those things that will help DevOps transformation fail. Okay, so I'm going to put the timer for 2 minutes here. And let's just first start in the silent mode. Just add as many as you can. Think about failing. What can help fail?
Hey, Dana, Surya the site. Can you share the link once again? I joined late.
Yes, of course. Yeah, no worries.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna. Yep, the link is in the chat.
Thank you.
Of course. And once you get in, just go into outline 8. Okay. So that's the end of our first time box. I'm going to end the private mode. and you will be able to see some of the ideas here. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to actually send you to 2 breakout rooms. And in that breakout rooms, I made sure that people with the cameras are in the breakout rooms, at least in pairs. And then whoever is off the camera, maybe they'll join, but at least those ones who are on the cameras, I can see them, they're live interacting. They will get a partner of the same live interacting kind. And so in the breakout room, what you're going to do with your partner is spend another 4 minutes and now brainstorm together, discuss what's there already, but also brainstorm together more evil practices to make sure that DevOps transformation fails in your organization. Okay? And I'll see you back in 4 minutes.
Continuous deployment, automatic deployment.
So, Surinder, you were a bit faint. Do you want to just summarize? I just heard the confusion with the branches and things like that.
Yeah, like I'm saying, doing work behind the wall, like whatever work someone is doing, not pushing it to the repository, like we are using the GitHub. So that thing we are practice with can lack the
Okay.
continuous deployment.
Do you? But I guess what is the main issue there? Is it a lack of understanding or of what the process is? You know what I mean? Like what is like if we had to summarize the core problem, what would it be?
Yeah, it can be the communication or the proper cooperation between the team.
Hmm. I'm gonna add that to the sticky notes.
And not using proper backups also can be a point.
Hmm. Oh, that's a good one. I'm adding that as well. Anything else anyone wants to add that's very evil? I was gonna say sometimes you have this idea of where you want to go with your DevOps, but some companies are so in chaos, so people don't know like the journey that we want to go on, if that makes sense. So maybe a little bit of a plan. I think what could be evil is like not thinking about where you are right now and where you want to get to and what are those missing pieces. So I'm just going to add that as well.
Yeah, I agree. As I talked to Dynamic, uh, in current organization we are doing, and I was introduced to the term DevOps, but in the previous organization we don't know what is DevOps, even never listened to that. So that can be the thing. If we the organization is not promoting the DevOps practices, so
Mm,
Also, we could say one thing is inadequate training. So, like you said, if somebody is coming from a background or is not aware of what DevOps is or how the process should work,
mm,
if you're not giving them proper training, it's bound to fail.
yeah, that's great. I've added that one. Thanks, Nikita. What else would be evil?
Um, Maybe lack of guidance from the leadership, or is it already there?
Yeah, I added lack of leadership I realized we couldn't
Okay.
put too many words, but I guess
Right.
you can interpret that as the same thing. I was
Okay.
also thinking now, being limited by tools, because I think when you start to talk about your DevOps pipeline, depending on how bureaucratic your company is, they can get very hung up on what will we use, and their debates, because some people like one tool, and kind of like being limited by an issue around tools, I guess, is something I'm going to add.
Okay. Yeah, we just have 20 seconds now, I guess.
Any last evil thing?
As with what was told, no, a rigidity in the hierarchy, or rigidity in terms of the approval.
I'm just going to put
Twice, I don't know why. But in any case, looks like we're mostly here.
Right. Then I just wanted to let you know 15 minutes inbox.
Yeah. So Nikita, I'm not sure what's happening with the breakout. I closed them already, and now I'm getting another signal that it will close in 60 seconds. So I'm not sure, but it looks like everyone is back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
don't worry about that. Okay, so let's see. Yeah. Let's look together at what are the evil practices you came up with. So what would help to make sure that DevOps transformation fails? Let's hear from each group.
Secretary,
Okay.
you want to go ahead? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
go ahead, Surya. Go ahead.
Right.
Sure.
Go ahead. No worries. Go ahead.
We came up with some very evil things in our group. I think the last one was particularly evil, a really good one from Aishwarya, and that was just rigidity in thinking, rigidity from leadership. We also mentioned not having a vision for DevOps, and that could include training, promoting, creating a shared understanding, and definitely that needs to be driven a lot from executives and leadership, and that there's buy-in.
Yeah, so to make sure that it fails, it's just making sure that there is no vision. Let's just talk about DevOps, but they have no clue what it is, right? And maybe let's even create DevOps team and then tell them that now we are all DevOps because we have that separate silo team that's going to be in charge of DevOps. Right. Cool. So what about the other group? What are some of the evil things you came up with?
Gail, you want to talk about them?
Sure, I could go ahead and you could jump in too if you want. We could pair. Some of the ones, because I may not remember all the ones you said, but some of the ones that I said were definitely buggy code. If you have very buggy code, then you'll certainly break the DevOps. Also a poor infrastructure. So if you don't have the infrastructure to support it, or if something's crashing on the servers, then that's an issue as well. Along with alignment. And Surya, you had some other ones too, I think. So if you want
and you missed out on lack of trust. I guess.
Yeah.
That,
Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one which you pointed out. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, those were the few. And Siddharth also jumped in. Just sharing his experiences with if you just left if you left the tech debt unattended, that could be a disaster coming your way, and you just, okay, let's do DevOps, let the tech debt continue the way it is going on. So, and that could be.
Yeah, brilliant. And if you think about it, let's also not share, like if I have my code and it's very brittle and it has tons of bugs, I'm not going to tell you about my code. So I'm the only person who knows it. So let's not cross-train each other. Let's not share the knowledge. That's the best way to make sure that we fail. Awesome. So the second part of, was there anything else? Go ahead.
I'm not sure it can be a thing like doing the things manually. I guess in the DevOps, we try to make things automate as much as possible. So if we are doing like doing the things by clicking the buttons every time, so it cannot be best practices for the DevOps.
Yeah, awesome. So let's make sure everything is manual, and let's make sure that we also add a person who will need to approve every step before the button can be pressed. How about that?
I guess most of the things should be automated, like there should be a running.
So, Surinder, just to make sure that we're on the same page. So this part of the activity that we're doing, we're not looking for what can we do to make it work. We're starting from what can we do to make it fail. So if we start automating, then, it may actually not fail, right? So we're looking for what are some of the evil things we can have in place to make sure that we will absolutely fail without DevOps transformation. So that's why I'm saying, like, let's add more approvals, because that will slow us down and we'll never do DevOps.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now the second part of this, so we started with this evil perspective. We're looking at what can we do to make it fail. Now the second part of it is actually look at what is that we came up with, all these evil practices, and now recognize which ones are we already doing in our organizations. And so, yes, it's kind of easy to think about the evil things, and then now it's easy to look at all this list and say, oh, actually, this is what we're already doing. So I'm going to send you very quickly, because I know we have very short time left. So I'm going to send you into your breakout rooms for just 2 more minutes and start moving things. Like, let's say if you have working in silo in your current organization, let's just move it in. So that's the way how we will recognize that this is something that we're already doing. So with your groups, 2 minutes, discuss quickly what are some of the things that you're recognizing in this list and move them over into this step 2 board. Okay? So I'm going to open up the rooms again for just quick 2 minutes. And
because we don't have a solution, and there is a management pressure that you have to resolve. So, and of course, it is not appreciated coming out. So I'm still hiding everything in closet, not coming out and telling that I can't, I don't know. I just came actually. So I think that becomes the biggest sin on my side.
No, thanks. Thanks, Dipti. I've added that as a sticky and I've dragged it over. Anyone else?
All possible best practices for the DevOps, but it's on like on the maybe personal level of individual. Sometimes they are not track monitoring the data, or sometimes there is the lack of configured backups, proper backups, and uh, the other points. Yes, lack of understanding of what actually DevOps. So can be a lack of leadership in particular for the DevOps is there.
Perfect. I drag those all over. I think I would agree with you, and I think for me, there's like a little bit of an overlap with the hiding of our challenges and a lack of understanding in terms of working in silos. So I'm going to drag that one over because I see that very much in my organization. People working by themselves and not really understanding what we're trying to do in terms of DevOps, and then the DevOps people just kind of doing everything by themselves, and then nobody really knows what's going on.
That's true. Actually, see, that is what happens. I remember every time there were 4 teams, 2 in US, 2 in India. And so US team will finish their work a day prior to India. And so India folks will have to stay till late in the night. and they had to finish. And then if something goes wrong, so they haven't slept well in the night, and if something goes wrong, everything comes back to probably they have done something wrong. This must be the India team, because they were the younger new team, and so the old team which had command more over the subject, uh, so that was also one major challenge. And I know we were supposed to tell ours, but I just ended up sharing the challenge in
one way, and now start the conversation around what do we want to stop doing to actually make ourselves successful as an organization. And now you can see those practices that came up through this exercise, and now have a conversation around that and have a plan as a group or as an organization to address these challenges that came up through this exercise. Okay, so I know we're getting very close to the end, and I would love to get very quick, maybe feedback, ideas about how to use this exercise in your environment. And so this is the outline 20. Also, if this little taste of the Berlin structures was something that was interesting to you, I am running a workshop after this conference, after these days, on March 20th and 21st. There is a special workshop for the time zone in India. So if you're interested, I would love to see you there. Okay, and then